I'd now like to ask Dr. Tom to speak. Dr. Tom has worked as Amnesty International Australia's Refugee Coordinator since 2000, working on behalf of individual asylum seekers as well as on broader human rights issues related to refugees. Dr. Tom has visited detention centres in Australia, including Christmas Island, and refugee camps and detention centres throughout Europe, the Middle East and Asia. He continues to give lectures and publish articles on refugee issues, both globally and domestically. Dr. Tom has had a long association with the Mandaean community and is a tireless advocate for the community and has a deep commitment to helping Mandaean refugees find settlement in Australia. Dr. Tom wrote a foreword to the book, 100 Souls, 100 Stories, 100 Tiles, and I quote, "It is difficult to overstate the importance of art and projects such as 100 Souls, 100 Stories and 100 Tiles in helping to overcome the trauma this community has experienced." Welcome.
Yes, thank you, Karen. And again, my respects to the traditional owners of the land. This is and always will be Aboriginal land. Honoured guests, we're here, Mayor Wendy Waller and Federal MP Anne Stanley and others that have also already been mentioned. Thank you for coming. My special thanks, though, of course, is to Johan on this amazing project and a fabulous organisation. I can't recommend highly enough. Also, to the Casula Powerhouse Arts Centre for your support for this project. And all those others in this room who made this possible. It was an absolute honour to be asked to write the foreword for this project. As mentioned, I have had a 20-year association with the Mandaean people, the Mandaean community. It's, I think, quite telling in the book itself. There's depictions from 20 years ago, from a visit to the detention centre. This is where Amnesty International first found out about the Mandaean people. And these are pictures from children who were locked up in those detention centres. And as highlighted in the book, they are now young adults contributing to this country, contributing to this local area. And to see children locked up is always fairly heartbreaking, to say the least. But from that early association, I've had the absolute pleasure to visit Mandaeans, not just here, but also in Syria and in Jordan, and meet the families who have been separated, and meet the families when they've been reunited. And it's so wonderful to see some of you here today. It's what makes this job worthwhile, actually. I think what's so special about this book is that it does capture the refugee experience so beautifully. And that idea of belonging, and where do people belong, and how do you belong when part of you has been left and ripped from somewhere else. I think art, as mentioned in the introduction, thank you, does have that beautiful power to heal, and I don't want to steal any of your thunder, Jorge. But this is a community that has suffered extraordinary trauma, and I think projects such as these are really instrumental in the healing of that trauma. Trauma that is ongoing. Let's not forget, we still have family members who are trapped and need to find home, need to be reunited. Because what we are talking about is a community, and again, this book so beautifully represents the Mandaean community. A really strong community, a connected community, but also a welcoming community. I can't express highly enough or thank highly enough this community for welcoming me into it and to feel part of it for so many years. It's been really special. With that idea of inclusion, I think the tiles themselves which are being displayed also capture a number of amazing themes that have already been represented here. The importance of family comes through again and again, of hope, the idea of home, the idea of pride in being Mandaean, but also pride in now being Australian. It's amazing how that comes through, because Australia has opened its arms to the Mandaean people. We have been able to get family reunited. COVID has really put a stop to that for the last 12 months, and I can't even imagine how heartbreaking that must be for families who are separated. But it means there's more work for organisations like Amnesty to do. I just wanted to end with reading one of the tiles. So many of them struck a chord, but this is from Jessica H9. It's a simple tile of a house, but so profound. This artwork represents the house where my father grew up in. My grandparents' house in our home country of Iraq. I imagine the house being run down and sorrowful due to the brunt of wars it had been through, and yet still standing resolute and proud. The moral lesson of this story is no matter what difficult, sad, embarrassing and cruel circumstances you go through, you should not bow out, but continue your path towards hope and aspire to a better life in future. Words that I've heard